Hi, everybody. It's me again. I wanted to come on here and update you on what I've been doing because it's been a couple of weeks. On my video, it said on my video, I guess on my banner on my YouTube channel, it says that videos done weekly. That's pretty ambitious for me right now because I do have a lot of stuff going. I have a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak. One of those irons, of course, is Gray Mage, which I'm working on right as we speak. Even today, I just took some time off from it to work on it. It's I had to postpone it. It's now August 13th, 2023. It was going to be the August 4th, but I ran into some issues with it because it's the fifth book and it's hard. Okay, so you're probably like, well, okay, it's hard. You're the author, write it, get it done. I'm like, okay, yes, I understand that. I am working on getting it done, but I'm also wanting it to fit in with all these other books in the series here. So, um, I've been giving Red Mage away a lot to people and trying to get them into the series. It's been working for the most part. And I finished Green Mage a month or two ago, and then I'm finishing up Gray Mage and then White Mage. I'm already partially writing it because in order to keep my deadline on it, which it's going to be September 1st, I've actually had to start writing it. But what I've done is I've kind of working these two books together because a lot of the story that has happened throughout this whole series is kind of bouncing back and forth between these two books. It's kind of, and it's hard to explain without you actually reading the books. But I've run into a couple of issues with it because it is the fifth book in the series. So I'm like, yikes, got to make sure everything fits, make sure that everything is working the way it should in the series. And, it takes a lot of time to go back, and I've got a master sheet that I go back and look at, and I can search so I can find different things that I've said, or eye colors, or hair length, or whatever happened in book, two. I got to make sure that when I refer back to it, that I'm telling you the correct information, that I'm referring back to the correct place. I just recently, to all the books, if you have one of the older books, it doesn't have a map in it, but the newer books, and I don't have one because it's over there, but I should grab one to show you. But the newer books all have the map in it. And I went back and I put the map in all the books from book one. So that's another thing I've been worried about, is going back and looking, make sure all the maps are accurate, and make sure that all the mages are from where they're supposed to be, and when they're moving around, to the different places that they're moving around to, that it all fits and works. So when you're writing a series, this is not advice. This is just something that happens. Okay, this is something you should be aware of. All my author friends out there who are watching this for author advice. When you write a series, your first book is pretty important because it's what leads people into your series. Okay, so that's important. Your second and third book are pretty easy. You don't really have to keep track of too much because, especially when you're doing a book like this where it's about each one of the mages in succession, you don't really have to worry about too much. You kind of have to remember what you said, and especially when I've set up the Ephaltus, or in the AI in a moment, I'll tell you, it calls it a fault. Instead of Ephaltus, they claim a faultus. But anyway, I'll talk about that here in just a moment. But anyway, when you're writing a series, the first couple books aren't too bad. Then you get to the fourth book and you start having to worry about, okay, I've forgotten a lot of what I wrote in the first book because I wrote it a while back. And so I have to keep constantly go back and referring to it so that I can look stuff up to make sure that I'm keeping all the continuity straight. And I think I've done a pretty good job for the most part. If you guys read the series and you come across anything that you're like, wait, this didn't make sense, or this, you said this, but then in the first book you said that, by all means, put it in the comments or send me a message or something on Facebook or whatever, and let me know, because I've tried my best to keep all the continuity straight. So you get to the fourth book and it's harder. The fifth book is a nightmare. You get to the fifth book and it's like, oh my gosh, I've forgotten everything I've written in the first couple books. I forgot how all the rules work with the tournament of mages, how the tournament works. Things have evolved into different areas than I thought they were going to evolve into. Characters have done things that are different than what I thought the characters would do. And so I have to go back and make sure that it still all fits and works. The story kind of takes a life of its own at that point when you write bigger works like this. So I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that everything's working correctly, and it's harder and harder. Each book in a series gets harder and harder as you go. So I kind of wrote the fifth and sixth book together in a way so that I didn't have to worry about that as much, so that I could get them done quicker, because it was a long time in between book 3, Black Mage, and book 4, Green Mage. It was a pretty long time period in there. I didn't want to have that long of a period anymore. I wanted to get this series wrapped up. Like I have this series here, right here. That series is completed now. But anyway, and then when I get finished with, there's some surprises in book 5. Then when I get finished with book 6, the White Mage, then the only thing that's left is book 7. And there's, I haven't revealed book 7. I haven't revealed the cover yet or anything, because even the cover is kind of a spoiler. If you haven't read the books up to book at least 5, at the end of book 5. So I've not shown it. I've not shown anybody. So I'll do a cover reveal on that at some point later on before I get started. But I'm not going to write the 7th book right away, because there's a lot of things that I need to actually do to the series to make sure that the book 7 works out right, because it ties everything up and it wraps everything up. And plus, book 7 is the tournament, basically. So you have the tournament in there where all the mages are going to get together. But I will give you a slight kind of spoiler, not really spoiler, kind of a sort of maybe spoiler. In book 5, Gray Mage, you do finally get to see all the mages have kind of a battle together. It's kind of a strange situation, but they all do kind of, it's a preview of them all fighting against each other, kind of, just sort of. You'll see what I mean in book 5. But anyway, so book 6 is going to be about Fia, the White Mage, and how she became the White Mage and all that. And then that'll lead into book 7. And book 7 is going to be kind of a unique formatting for all of them, because it's going to have sections in it for each one of the 6 mages. So anyway, I'll be wrapping that up. I probably won't get to book 7 by the end of the year, because I'm trying to have 20 books published by the end of the year, and I don't have the final book of this series scheduled until 2024. So you'll get Gray Mage, you'll get White Mage, and then about January or February you'll get the final book in the series. I don't want to delay it too long, but there's a lot of stuff I got to put in it, so I'm giving myself enough time to finish it, and it'll be finished. I'll finally finish that series. Speaking of that series, I got something cool to show you. Apple, through Draft to Digital, it's one of the aggregate sites that I've talked about before that have a lot of my books already in there. So let me pull that up and I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll go to it. But okay, it's taking a while. All right. So anyway, Draft to Digital. All right, I can't get to it. All right, so anyway, okay, nix that. Draft to Digital is basically it's an aggregate that sends my books out to all the other bookstores like Barnes and Noble and places like that. Now, I've mostly gone direct to most of these places, and I did recently go direct to Apple. And what I mean by go direct, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, I sell my books wide. In other words, I can see sorry, there's a thing there, a reflection. But anyway, I did buy a new camera. I haven't used it yet, but I will for these videos. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Draft to Digital is a place where it sends my books to all these different places. I sent to one spot, Draft to Digital, and Draft to Digital distributes it to all these other bookstores, including Amazon. Well, Amazon I go direct, but including stuff like Kobo, which is Canadian, and Barnes and Noble and Google Play and things like that. All my books are in all of those formats. Now, what I've done is I've gone direct to most of those. Like Google Play, I go direct to Google Play, meaning that I send my books directly to that store and they post it. I don't have an aggregate where I send it to one place anymore. The reason I do that is because some places will give you perks and things for putting your books direct with them, like Kobo, for example. And so my books are with Kobo, and my books are with Barnes and Noble, and my books are with Google Play directly to their platform. There's no middleman. Draft to Digital is a middleman, basically. And so I recently pulled my books back from Apple. I had them direct to Apple. I pulled them back from Apple and pulled them back in Drafted Digital and distributed them to Apple from Drafted Digital, because Drafted Digital and Apple got together and they've made an AI audiobook. Now, if you're like me, I can't stand AI voices. The he walked down the street and then he fell over here, and it does something like that, and then it doesn't have any pauses and it doesn't have any inflection in the voices, and it skips things, and it's real fast. And I've never really liked it. I use it in Microsoft Word and other things like that to read stuff back to me when I'm editing, because that's one of the best ways to self-edit, is to have something read back to you. If you're just looking at it with your eyeballs, you'll miss stuff. Your brain will tell you that you wrote something that you didn't actually write, and you'll see it when it's not actually there. Your brain actually does that. But when it's played back to you, the AI voice, they're going to read exactly as it's written on the page. So if you have an extra word or something, a lot of times word programs will flag that anyway. But if you have the and you don't realize it because you went over it several times and you don't see it, your AI will go, he went to the store. It'll read it and you'll hear it. And so it's a really great way to self-edit. I always tell people who want to know about self-editing, say the best way is to have something read back to you. So anyway, back to the AI. So Google has an AI, and you can actually go through it. And I've been kind of working with RedMage, going through, and you can add the pauses where there should be like a pause in dialogue or something, and the AI doesn't pause; it just zips right through it. It sounds like a human voice until it gets to that point, then you can tell that it's not. And so you can actually put those pauses in. And the other thing about fantasy is AI doesn't know how to pronounce words very well, and it's kind of been a problem even with the AI with Apple. But anyway, so on Google you can actually use the microphone and you can speak to it, and like a faltus, for example, instead of a faultus. If the computer is saying a faultus, I can go in and I can say a faltus, and then the computer will start saying a faltus from then on. So I can do that with Google. And I haven't completed a complete book because it takes a lot of time. And all my time recently has been writing. I haven't had a lot of extra time, and I do teach still. Some of you know that with my grammar. And I do have a master's degree in English, and I'm a teacher, so I do still teach. But so I write like on the side. So anyway, I've been doing a lot of writing, and I've been doing teaching. It's summertime, so a lot of teaching has kind of fallen off to the side. So I've been doing a lot more writing, and summer is always a tough time for me anyway, because no one wants to take classes and no one wants to, buy books in summer that much. Well, I do some, but anyway, let's move on. So Apple and Drafted Digital got together and they started doing some AI. So I have experimented with the Tournament of Mages, and finally I've experimented with my Epic Fantasy, the one that's right behind my head. And they actually made RedMage into an audiobook that you can get through Apple. So just to tell you, if you're like me, you're probably like, that's terrible because it's horrible AI. Okay, so here's Apple Books. This is the Apple Bookstore. And as you can see, I have the first 3 books done. The 4th book is being done. But anyway, I wanted to, let me reshare this because I always forget to share the sound. Oh, there's Drafted Digital. There's Drafted Digital. It popped up. So that's what it looks like. So anyway, let me reshare with the sound because you have to hear it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you the snippet from that. And of course, there's my background. Okay, yeah, you can see my cool dragon background. All right, you know what I just did? I just closed that. So let me reopen it. Yes, I'm going to leave all as usual, I'm probably going to leave all the mistakes in here. So you're getting the raw video. I mean, why not? You can see my bungling self here. Okay, so let me pull that back up. All right, so now let me share the sound on the computer and pull that up. Okay, so I wanted to play a little bit of this because this is just the sample that you can go to on Apple and you can hear it for yourself. But I wanted to show you how great this is, how wonderful it sounds. So here we go. I'll shut up now.
Anna is a mystery. She doesn't act like a member of the lower classes. She tries to hide it, but her education is often evident in the way she speaks. Crumpled, intricate drawings of animals and people were discovered in her trash bin. Once, in the marketplace, she was overheard giving directions to an elf in perfect High Elvish. There was also the time her employers came home to the most beautiful piano music they had ever heard. But when they opened the front door, Hannah quickly pretended she was only dusting the keys. She seems to have magical powers as well. When one of the children came down with a fever, she healed him when the clerics could not. What terrible dark secret is she harboring? She must be a noble in hiding or a member of the clergy, or she might even be one of the destined 6 mages. After all, the tournament is only a couple years away.
Okay, that was the opening to Red Mage. That's the prologue, basically, or not the prologue, the blurb, the back cover stuff. And here's a little bit of Blue Mage.
Hannah is a mystery.
Oops.
She doesn't.
Okay, it's playing the same one. That was weird.
Hannah is a mystery.
Okay, it's playing the same ones. I guess you have to go to each one individually. It's playing the same exact one. Anyway, I hope that's not how it works. I'll have to go and check that out later, make sure they're not playing exactly the same, the Red Mage opening to all the others. I've heard these and they're just as good. Now, it does pronounce things a little different. A lot of my word names in this series and words and stuff are pretty easy. I mean, obviously you can tell that it picked out Hannah okay. It actually picks out Saren okay. It actually it calls Thessa, it calls her Thessa just like normal, or Thessa. No, it calls her Thessa. Which is the Black Mage, ends up being Black Mage. I probably shouldn't have said that. That was a spoiler alert. Sorry. And I think it says Aaron. I'm pretty sure. And like I said, Saren, who's in the first book, it does pronounce that correctly. The only thing is, it pronounces Ephaltus, which I pronounce Ephaltus when I'm writing and when I'm talking about him. But in the book, the AI calls him Ephaltus. Now, if you like that AI, if you like the way it sounds, that's pretty amazing. That's AI. That's not an actual person. All right. So the Tournament of Mages turned out really great. Now, I went ahead because I was so impressed with the Tournament of Mages. I went ahead and had them go ahead and do the. I'm just going to pick one. I'm pick Fury of the Lich. So I went ahead and had them do my epic fantasy. So it's also in there. Although I will warn you, if you do want to hear the epic fantasy, it's a lot longer. And well,
plan, and he needed help. I can't say I am surprised the Dragon King sent only one man to retrieve us. What are they expecting you to do? Carry us one by one across the ocean? Colonel True asked. Gonis tried to hide his annoyance. Well, the army is a military outfit. It wasn't supposed to be scattered into 2 factions like this, and my job was simply to gather everyone up into one place. There is a plan for extraction. I am not sure what it is yet, but I know there is a plan to get you home as fast as possible. You are sorely missed and desperately needed back home.
All right, so as you can tell, for one thing, the character that he called Gonis, I actually pronounce Ganis. So he pronounced anytime there's a long A. I guess I had the short A version, and the AI pronounces it a long A. So Ganis became Gonis, and my character Nanedin, I pronounce it Nanedin. The AI pronounced it Nanadin. My character Eonthil, the AI pronounces it Iantil. So there are some anomalies. There's another character I have. Her name is Brenna, and the AI calls her Bryna. So, and there's no way for me to go in and correct it like there is with Google. I can't go in and pronounce the words correctly. So if you do, I'm a little embarrassed with that because I didn't realize, I forgot that that my epic fantasy had so many fantasy names and fantasy places that, the AI was probably bound to struggle over some of them. The other thing about my epic fantasy is I wrote it in a lot more, as you can tell, it doesn't have a lot of contractions. It's not like the Tournament of Mages where I use a lot of I've and they've and stuff like that. It's more they have or I have not. It's more proper English. Although I do use contractions in it, they're fewer than I use in like Tournament of Mages is more like friendly, more like more contemporary English. Whereas my epic fantasy, since it's more of a medieval fantasy, it's more like stiffer in a lot of ways. It's more proper English. But anyway. So I just wanted to tell you about that and tell you I was excited about that and not so excited about my epic fantasy being in that. But Green Mage is still processing. It takes them a long time to do one of these books. It took about 3 or 4 weeks for them to do the first 3. And then the epic fantasy just started popping up recently. And it's missing a couple of books. It's missing I think we got the first couple of books, and it's missing, I think, Undead Inheritance is the one it's missing. But and this one, of course, is missing Green Mage, and of course I haven't put out Gray Mage yet, or White Mage, so of course those are not going to be in the series. But so far, from what I've read not read, from what I've seen and followed with the first 3 books, I've listened to parts of all 3 of them. It's pretty impressive. They've done a really great job, and the voices sound authentic. They sound like people. Now, one caveat about this, caveat, how do you pronounce that? One exception, I should tell you. If you really want to listen to them on AI, then go for it. The Apple books would be the place to go. Because I am producing all of my books, every single one of them, with my own voice, because I can do a lot of voices, and I'm pretty good at that kind of thing. I have a lot, my voice can do a lot of different things, and I've done them for years, like, that's just a kind of I'm going to probably edit that part out. It sounded terrible. But anyway, normally I can make a lot of voices myself, and I can do it myself, and I can actually edit. I have the software, and I have the computer, and I have all that stuff. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do all my books myself, but that's going to take me a long time. If there's any, if you've been around for a long time, you know that even writing the books takes me a while. So sitting down, and I'm converting a closet here at the house that I don't use very often. It's a big closet. I'm putting a desk in there, putting blankets and stuff up on the walls, egg crates and things like that that are going to absorb sound. And I'm building a little booth, if you will, to do sound in. And so I will be reading those myself and making them myself. But like I said, it takes me a while to produce each chapter. It's going to take me a while to get through all of the books. So if you want not AI, if you want audio like right away, they are available through AI that way. Now, you might think, well, are you taking the cheap way out because you don't want to have to pay a voice actor or whatever to do them? That's not it. I've had a couple of books produced a long time ago by voice actors, and they do a really great job. And I would highly suggest that. And yes, they are expensive. It takes a couple thousand, if not more, to depending on the length of the book, to hire somebody to do your books. And that's not why I did the AI. That's not why I'm doing it myself. I'm doing it myself because there's things in my books that I think that how do I put this? People get wrong, not necessarily wrong. That's not the right way of saying it. There are things in my books that I know that there's jokes and little nuances and stuff that I think that I could do better because I know them. I know where they're at. I know what I'm trying to say. And every once in a while, and even the AI did this to me a little bit, every once in a while, someone will come across one of those, and it'll come across like, okay, this is a good way to put it. If any of you are familiar with Hamlet and Shakespeare, which some of you may be and some of you may not be, there's a part where Polonius is coming in on Hamlet, and Hamlet's being sarcastic. He's reading a book, and Polonius just offhandedly asks him, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "What are you reading?" And he's like, "Words, words, words." He's being more sarcastic with it. Now, if you read it in the play without knowing the context, it looks like Polonius says, it'll be Polonius, and you'll say, "What are you reading?" And then Hamlet goes, "Words, words, words." And then you go, "Oh, well, blah, blah, blah," whatever Polonius says after that. And you just kind of skip through it. You don't realize that unless you watch the play performed, or you watch the Kenneth Branagh version or the Mel Gibson version from, back in the 90s, you don't realize that he's being super sarcastic. He's not just saying words, words, words. He's going words, words, words. He's like basically making fun of Polonius for asking, like, "What do you think I'm reading?" "I'm reading words," And you don't catch that by reading the text unless someone tells you, because it's just on paper, it's just words, 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 So that's kind of how I've come across a couple of things in my books that I've kind of made a little jokes about. And the AI and even the people that I've had read them before, they just read over it like it's just normal. and they don't catch that nuances or that sarcasm that I know is supposed to be there. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to do it myself, is because I can find, I know those places, and I can find those places. There's a couple of things in my epic fantasy where Lady Shay talks about stuff to Gondriel, and she's basically making fun of him, and he doesn't really catch it. And a lot of times the readers don't catch it either. She's making fun of him. But I can probably put those nuances in there. So I'm going to do that. Okay, one last thing. I don't want to make this video too long, and I could talk about the works a lot longer. I've been working on. I've said this a couple of times on YouTube, in these videos. I've been working on my other pen name, Beckett Blaze, and I've told you that Beckett Blaze is not the family friendly stuff like Cleave Bourbon is, because my Cleave Bourbon persona is supposed to be family friendly. I mean, if you read Red Mage or you read Hauling Path, there's a little bit of stuff that's kind of borderline, maybe PG, but there's nothing in there that I wouldn't give to my granddaughters or my grandson to read. There's nothing in there that I would be embarrassed about. There's no graphic sex, anything like that. And so, and the only curse word is there might be damn or hell or something like that, but that's it. That's as far as it goes. I don't even say the A word, the S word, or the F word, or in any of them. All right. So in any of my books. So I've decided that I wanted to write, I was wanting to write a kind of a Rick and Morty type fast-paced book, that Futurama, like Deadpool kind of rated R, kind of hard rated R kind of book, because I'm not comfortable putting a lot of curse words and stuff in books, and I certainly don't put any kind of graphic sex or anything like that in, so don't worry about that. But I'll probably never do that, like the Game of Thrones graphic sex scenes. It's just not me. I just don't write that kind of thing. I probably could if I really tried, but it's just uncomfortable. I don't like doing it, so I don't. So I won't probably do that. But some curse words here and there. In case people don't know me very well, I don't curse very often. As you can probably tell here on YouTube, I don't really say it very often. I kind of keep everything family friendly. Although I'm not opposed to curse words, and the reason why is because I have an English degree, and I know where a lot of these words came from. And to me, it seems kind of ridiculous to have words that substitute in for bad words, but they're not as bad as the other words. And just that concept is like foreign to me. For example, we can say, darn, I wish I'd done that, darn it. And we can't say damn. It's like, okay, we say darn in replacing damn, and it's like, why? Right? Why are we doing that? Why is damn slightly more offensive than darn? Or the F word, we say screw it. I'm not gonna do it anymore. But we can't use the F word because that's somehow worse. I don't know. That to me, that's like, why? What? And a lot of those words come from there. There's a lot of different stories about where like the F word came from, for unlawful carnal knowledge, and for consent of the king or something like that. And those are all not true. They're all myths. That's not where it came from. The only one that I kind of think that maybe has some basis in that is there was one where in the books in the old church, when someone was accused of sex before marriage, they would start abbreviating for unlawful carnal knowledge, and that abbreviation became the word, and that doesn't really even have proof. So that seems the most plausible to me, and it doesn't have proof. The other one was the S word. Supposedly it was a stamp that was on some boxes that were put on a ship, and they were loading on and off the ship, and the stamp on there was written out the SH, furthermore. And so they started getting to where, hey, we need to load this word, and we need to unload that word, and supposedly that's where that came from, but I'm not really sure if that's where it came from or not. We have the word poop, we have the word crap, so why not the other one, right? I don't know. Anyway, the point is that people, especially people out there right now, they use curse words. So to make it more realistic, I decided that I didn't want to put any of this kind of stories under my Cleave Bourbon name, because I want to keep my Cleave Bourbon name 99% clean. So I made the Beckett Blaze one. So what I've done is, because I haven't had really time to work on it too much, I went ahead and I made a Kickstarter for Beckett Blaze. I just made it like yesterday. So there's only one back or two backers right now, just because it just started. But there's a video here that I made that's kind of fun. I guess I could play it for you guys, but yeah, why not, right? Okay, let me unshare this so I can make sure that I share the sound again, because I frequently forget that part. Okay, I did. All right, I'll go ahead and just play the video for you. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. I just realized when I turned it on that it was like blasting my speakers out. So hopefully if you're wearing headphones or something, you still have eardrums left. It doesn't blast you out. But anyway, as you can tell, if you read all that, if you got to read it, it's about a kid that find a college age kid that, they drink a lot, supposedly, allegedly. And so he finds this artifact, and if you twice it or once a day, it'll give you a wish. And he wishes being like, 18, 19, 20 something, he wishes for things that he probably shouldn't have. Like instead of wishing for like rent or like a car or car payment or something, make ends meet, he does ironic, stupid wishes. Like, I wish I could date this girl, or which someone probably said something like that, or I wish I had superpowers or something like that. So he gets these ironic superpowers. Basically, different types of alcohol gives him different types of powers. Like if he drinks takes a shot of whiskey, it makes him like this bear-looking creature that is really strong and things like that. So anyway, his friend that he has, he wishes her powers too. And anyway, I'm not gonna give you the whole story, but because I don't have time for one. But basically, this is the true thing here. I thought of the dumbest thing I could think of, because I love Futurama and Rick and Morty and things like that. So I wanted my version of that, so I thought of the dumbest thing I could think of, and this was one of the dumbest things I could think of. Was a college kid who gets superpowers from a demonic idol, and then the demons, of course, want that idol back at all costs, because they can use it to do different things than humans can use it for. It doesn't necessarily make them wishes. It does something else for the demons. But anyway, so they want it back, so they're chasing him, and he has this friend, and anyway, she gets superpowers and he gets superpowers, but they're ironic superpowers. He meets up with some other people who have ironic stuff, and so it's just really kind of a fun story that I wrote. But it's full of the F word, and it's full of cursing and things like that. There's no graphic sex or anything like that. You don't have to worry about that. But there's violence, of course, and things along those lines. Each reward section I put in here has to do with alcohol. Like there's the beer level, the wine level, the vodka level, the bourbon level, the brandy level, the mixed cocktail, and champagne level. So anyway, I just started this. I don't know how it's going to work. I didn't really do any prep for it. I didn't really try to find anybody to back it to begin with. So it's probably, I don't know. I hesitate to say it's probably going to fail, but I did put some time into it, and I am going to write the book regardless, because it's just fun to write. It's kind of my ability just to let go and not have to worry about, if one of my students is going to read it, or my daughter or my grandkids are going to read it or something. I'm just writing it under Beckett. That's why I made Beckett Blaze, and I have 3 other books planned. The other book that I have is a science fiction novel under the Beckett Blaze pen name, and it's about, I don't know, 70% finished. So yeah, I've been working on those kind of on the side. That's what I was working on in between Black Mage and Green Mage, to be honest. And so anyway, I have those pretty much done. So I thought I'd try it and see how it goes. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything or saying, hey, you gotta go check that out. I just kind of wanted to show you guys what I'm doing, so that you'll kind of know what I'm up to and how I've been working on some stuff, and what that there is progress being made. It may not be progress in the places I want it to be, Like right now, it's already 5 p.m. on Sunday, which means I should be getting back to writing like right now, because I have to have Gray Mage finished and turned in and edited and all that stuff by 7 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, because it's going to come out next Friday. So it's written pretty much. Don't worry. I think I'll make it this time. It's about 99% written. I'm in the editing phase right now, and this is the hard part for me, because this is the part where I have to go and research everything and find out if I've made all the correct, if I've corrected all the mistakes, made all the continuity errors fit, if I fix all the continuity errors. There's a couple of places where the plot was kind of disconnected that I've had to kind of join the plot back up together a little bit. There's a couple of places that I've had to do that, and it's one of the better books I think I've written in the series. It was just extremely difficult to write, and like I said, the reason why is because it's the 5th book out of 7. Hopefully, the 6th book, finishing up the White Mage, won't be as hard, but because it's so close together, and I've done a lot of the story overlaps into White Mage, so hopefully that one will go smoothly, and I can have that one out by September 1st. And hopefully I won't have to delay it like I had to delay Gray Mage. I hate delaying books, but I can't put out a book that's not finished. I can't put out one that hasn't been fully edited or fully taken apart, put back together, and is correct. I just can't do it. You deserve better than that. So if I get to the point where the book is not finished, or if it's the editing isn't finished, which is the case with Gray Mage, or I see issues with it, I'm not just going to release it. I'm going to postpone it. I'm going to put it off, because I'd rather you read something of quality than just read something that's hacked together. I don't want to do that. So anyway, all right. So any questions or comments, put them down in the comment section. I haven't been getting a lot of comments lately. But if you do have a question or comment or request or whatever, you put it down in the comments for me. Like and subscribe. That helps me. I'm still pretty small, so there are some people that watch these videos that aren't subscribed, but a lot of them I've noticed watch the grammar entries. But I will always put grammar and stuff. I'm always going to put stuff to help people write better. So that reminds me, if you have something that will help you write better, if there's some sort of grammar issue that you've had in your writing, or even if it's academic writing like essays or something like that, and you want me to do a video on it to help you with that aspect, put it down in the comments, and I'll make a video on it. I'll make any kind of grammar or any kind of writing issue that you might be having. Put it down in the comments, and I'll make a video on it and teach you how to do it. I pretty much know, I don't think there's anything grammar wise that I can't do, or that I can't at least teach. I might not be able to do it personally, but I can definitely teach it. All right. Anyway, that's all for today. Hopefully this didn't last too long. I wasn't really timing it. Next book, listen to me. I'm got a book in my head. Next video, we'll probably be using my new camera. Now that I've kind of figured it out, and I'll probably move around a little bit. It won't be me just stuck right here in this little area. I'll probably get out and do some more stuff. Pretty soon I'm going to remodel this office anyway, so it'll be different colors, get rid of that baby poop brown. But anyway, all right, Tim, I'm just rambling like normal. I'm trying not to end the video, I guess. Thank you. Bye.